Okay. Gonna check my audio real quick. So audio test. Okay, sounds good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Discourager of Hesitancy. Today is Chat's Choice. Those are your choices. If nobody pops in, then I'll pick. But we'll give it a few minutes while I eat a snack. So sorry about the interrupted stream. I had some family in town. They popped down to have a chat. It's always nice to see my sister and her family. Just a moment.
By the way, can we put it out?
Okay. Oh, so we did start streaming this morning with some world building on a couple of tabletop games I would like to design. Um, Unfortunately, OBS did something really weird where I could not see my mouse cursor, so I had to guess where it was and click around until things happened, and that really was untenable. So, um, hopefully, that does not happen again today. That was unfortunate. I've never seen that before. It was there, it just wouldn't show up.
Oh, baby.
Okay. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just start with going back to some world building, and then see if everybody pops in for that. So how to do this? Let's see.
Hey, can we?
I have a vision in my head what the world looks like. So maybe we should try to make that somewhat more real. I'm going to bring up GIMP. And we're going to start with a, I guess I should first see if GIMP will show up. There it is, which means we don't need Emacs right now. Um, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna make a new image. We're gonna make it 2048, I guess, by 2048. I don't know if that's the size we're going to use. I always make a transparent layer for some reason. Probably so I can duplicate it instead of creating a new layer. Background. We don't care about the background right now. What we're going to try and do is make a texture, which we'll then bring into Blender when we build up this image of the world. Oh. Hey, JTL. How's it going? I'm looking for an image to start from, building up a texture that we'll use to build up some. This is just not gonna work, is it? Normally, black and white. I would like a large image. All right, this is garbage. Let me do a search. Texture, seamless. Just, well, I don't really care about seamless, do I? This is nowhere near big enough. Is that not designed to wrap, I don't think. Voronoi diagram. This one might work. How big is it? Hmm. No dolly. No, no, we don't do dolly here. We believe in human creativity. It still has a place in the world, I think. I hope. I need a good base image to start from. I actually went looking for a way to build my own Voronoi texture, and I did not like one of my options. This one isn't bad. I can maybe work with this one. Okay. Let's save this somewhere. Come on. Oh, well. So, let's see. I'd like. Oh, wait, this is a. Oh, no, I didn't want that. What about this one? It's very small. Why are these all so small? Specifically said, give me a large sized image here. This goes on much longer. I may have to share my browser screen. I thought I'd be able to find something very quickly here. You know what? This one might be a good one. Voronoi 2. Okay. All right. Switching over here. So I've got 2 different tabletop games I would like to design. One I've prototyped and playtested already. It needs work. Usually it takes me 3 or 4 playtests to find the right elements. So this is a Voronoi diagram. Just a second. Oh, okay. So what a Voronoi diagram is you get a bunch of random points. They don't have to be random, but it's what you're aiming for. And for each point, you calculate the boundary where the things are equally close. So this whole line is equally close to these 2, and this line segment is equally close to this line, this dot, and this dot. And then these dots are where you're equivalently close to 3 or 4 dots, right? So that's a Voronoi diagram. You're basically doing a close distance, a distance equivalency test to divide the world up into these little shapes. And the boring part, let's see, we have to do this better than colorize. No. There's a color to alpha. There we go. I want, where's my sample? Sample dropper. Green. I want those greens all gone. Perfect. I kind of want to get rid of these blue dots, but I don't know if it's worth it. No. Okay. We delete this layer, and we delete this layer. Then we can set the canvas to the size of the layers. Make a new layer. Okay, so we got rid of the green dots. We still have the blue dots. So we are going to make it all grayscale. We'll merge it down That's probably good enough for what we're doing. Except we want to invert the colors. We want the blacks to be white and whites to be black. There we go. So smooth. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Smooth layer. New layer. Transparency. Okay, so with this layer, we're going to do a couple of things. This one, we're going to fill with like a purpley color. And we're going to change it to be a multiply. So that the purple is basically applied anywhere there's white. Okay. Move this up here. This one, we're going to do. We're going to duplicate the layer. Hide this one. This one, we want to blur, Gaussian blur. Something like that, maybe. Let's duplicate this layer again. This one, we're going to also blur like 2.5. This one on top of that. Except I did that all out of order. I always forget certain steps. This layer we're going to fill with black. This layer, I want to color to alpha our black channel away. But first I'm going to duplicate this so that I don't ruin it and forget what I'm doing. What color it is. Color to alpha. Okay, this one we duplicate 3 times. Maybe we only need to do it twice. Now we blur. Did we not? I'm confused. Kept this copy around, fine. Did I duplicate the wrong layer? Alright, well this is the original, so we can delete these again. This one, duplicate. So this is black and white. This one, wonder if I had the wrong layer selected when I did that. White web. Duplicate. Duplicate. So we're going to keep this one. This one we will blur. Which will be easier to see with the black in there. Maybe we duplicate this one and blur this one. Blur, but only a little bit. Then we pop that in there. Okay. I just want to blur this one like 1. Oop, that's not what I wanted at all. Come on. I want to edit the number. I know I can't. 1. There we go. Okay. Now we have our texture. Our image for here is good heavens. Active projects. There we go. Whew, okay, so we got that part done. And I think what we're going to do next is we're going to open Blender. So GIMP away. Where's my Blender? Do I have a Blender? Oh, I don't. Interesting. Window capture. Blender. This is where I could probably use a nephew or something. Some of my nephews are supposed to be pretty handy with Blender. Let's see. OBS, what do you show me? Yeah, I guess that'll work. Okay, so we delete the cube. We insert a UV sphere, I guess. Scale it way up. And then we actually want to keyboard shortcuts. T, no, not T. L, has to be tab 10. Split. All right, time to look it up. I don't use Blender often enough to remember all the keyboard shortcuts or how to get anything to work, so Shift F. So in theory, if we're inside here, we can add a plane, scale it up a whole bunch as well. This one. This sphere needs a material. And this is where I am way out of date. Way out of date. Add a texture. Can I load a file? This is much more complicated than it used to be. Oh, Blender. Texture, file, image. Update the video texture. Begin adding textures, blah blah blah. Creating a material, import. Materials tab, base color, yellow dot. Here's the moment. Yeah. Click. Let's see here. Is there an image texture here? Texture, image texture. So there is one. Okay. We do have to go back into GIMP. Shoot, I didn't export the image. I saved it in GIMP's format. So let me just do it real quick. File, export. Okay. Which power do I have to give it? 10,000 watts? Oh, there it is. Okay. This guy has a material. Texture, image texture. Open. Unbelievable. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Active projects. Evergloom. Violet web. Okay. There we go. So in this world, instead of a sky, it's all purple. Blender, how to smooth surfaces. Shading, operator, blah, blah, blah. Smooth shading. That's the one. I wish it would just tell me the keys for it. How to do it. Gosh, you have to go down to half the article. Right click the object, shade smooth. Really? Oh, there it is. Okay. So there's the sky in our fictional world. Let's see here. Camera 0. Fly mode. There's a seam, so we don't want that in the final image. That camera still doesn't look like it's... I can start to see here. If I went into 0, which is camera mode, Shift F, Control F, there used to be a fly mode. We could fly the camera somewhere. Unbelievable. Okay. Maybe I forgot how. Blender, camera, fly mode. Shift till and F. Mickey Maven, welcome, welcome. How's it going? It's sort of, there used to be a camera fly mode that would let me have the point of view of the camera and then WASD and arrow keys to fly. I just don't remember. To page tutorials. Press numpad 0 and then exit camera view. What? Navigation. Zoom scale. Okay, but how do I enter fly mode? That's the part that I wanted you to explain. Reddit. Bunch of Blender fly mode. Blender offers initiate either method from view navigation menu. You can also initiate your preferred one by pressing Shift Accent Grave. So if I go into camera mode, Shift Accent Grave, now I can retarget the camera. We're getting some far field clipping. And we're seeing seams. Nope. So I guess that's where the camera ended up. Okay. So what we're doing, unless somebody wants to change topics, is we are doing a little bit of world building for a tabletop game, which will probably have some digital assistance. I've already prototyped one of the two games this setting is for, and it has some promise, needs some work for sure. But we're in world building mode today. If people don't want to do that, we can definitely switch over to compilers. I know this is usually more of a software stream. Let's see. So in this world, let's see here. We started writing earlier this morning before I was interrupted. I could share that, I guess. Where's my OBS? If I hide Blender, if I show this thing, of course not. Starting to think that OBS requires certain windows to be okay, so I have to have the same window title as I did the first time. Okay, so what we did this morning for, I don't know, an hour when OBS lost my mouse cursor was start writing a bit of background to our world as if Bard were telling a legend in a tavern. The main points are there is no sun, there is no moon, there's no sky, no clouds. The whole sky is this purple web that I'm rendering right now in Blender. And because of that, there's no seasons, there's no temperature variation to speak of, there's no real wind to speak of. And it's all because of the four immortals, but the reasons why are lost in legend. I know what those legends, I know what the real answer is, but people playing the game won't necessarily until they've completed the first main character arc. So there are sunstones, like there'll be big crystal-y stones that have yellow light, and you build your village around it. The villages will be kind of built inside out of what we're used to. Since the sunstone has to be in the center, the crops and fields have to be in the center, and the buildings are outside that in a ring, outside of the fields. And then there's also water, which now that I can see my mouse, I can click the edit button way easier and remove the excess bracket here. So there are pools of water that are always filled with water. That's always kept clean. I haven't decided what they're going to be called. And then every once in a while, a hole opens in the sky. You can see the stars briefly. And then there's this purple spike that shoots out into space for reasons that nobody knows on the right now. There's two factions. I haven't really decided on the names yet, but something like Children of Light and the Bringers of Dark or something like that. And the idea is that there will be two factions not everyone's a party to either one, but the Children of Light believe that the world going dark was a challenge that they have to overcome, and they need to change the world to suit their needs. And the Bringers of Dark believe that it's like a test of human adaptability, that it's up to us to become accustomed to the dark. So those will be some of the major, I don't know, political, philosophical, not religious, because it's not really a deific, but there'll be some religious overtones in the people themselves. There'll be other groups as well, but those are like the two main ones that I've got outlined here. So that is kind of what we're working on today. It's a little more world building side of things. If that's boring, we can switch over to compilers. That's fine too. Although I'm a little surprised at how many people are interested in compilers. Sometimes. Right, so Brave can go away. We'll go back to Blender. So I've got this purpley web up in the sky, full of energy. And I'm no artist, so like you can imagine things moving, and we could maybe make it better. Do we want to make it better right now? It's fine. It's fine. The ground will need like a stone texture. I'm assuming that we don't get a lot of built-in textures here, do we? There used to be things like built-in texture, built-in materials. We may need to go materials hunting. Should we go materials hunting? That would argue that we go back to our browser. Blender, cobble, stone, material. Wow, that is very high. Maybe blend swap. Maybe this one's. Is it free? Where's the download button? I must be logged in. This is a texture. Well, it's free. We'll grab a texture. I'm not going to Tumblr. No, I don't want a membership anywhere. Is there a good mirror? No. Wow. Used to be so easy to get textures. Blender free materials pack. Okay, we can probably work with some of that. You can download the 11 packs here. They are indeed free. So many texture packs. Like done by actual artists and stuff. There you go. Bricks. There's some wood ones. We'll probably need something like that eventually. Concrete. Okay. There's actually quite a lot of free packs here for Blender. Yes, we need a Materials pack. It looks like it might cover our needs. Ooh, hexagons. I always like hexagons. I see like a cobblestone one. Other than the hexagons, no. But I do like hexagons. Or do we just make our own? Polyhaven.com textures. Public domain. Oh, see, that looks, yeah, stone wall, patterned brick floor. Okay, this looks like what I'm looking for. Perfect. Thank you, Mickey Maven. Awesome possum. Let's just take a look. We can get a gravel pathway, sea-worn stone. Yeah, it's very good. Cobblestone floor. Okay, cool. License, bottom left. Wow, so many materials. License. You should read that. All assets are the original's work. Effectively public domain, even in jurisdictions that don't support the public domain. Okay. Perfect. We probably should donate to them sometime. This is actually a lot of really good stuff in here. Yeah. But we're not making money yet. So they will have to wait. Where was that? Pattern brick wall. Red sandstone? So if you're living in a world without light to speak of, or real darkness, like everything is just always purple, the plants are going to be completely different. So one thing we'll eventually have to do is do a bunch of research into biological niches um, like in the mouth of caves there's a region where there's no light coming in to speak of from outside, only a little bit, but it's cooler, it's damper, and a lot of those cave creatures in that region would probably still be around. I forgot the name of that region already. I don't think I want concrete for most of this. Stone pathway would work. Grassy can pass for moss. So a lot of things you're not going to have are like trees. Trees are gone. You're going to have mushrooms. You're going to have lichens. You're going to have the maybe ferns. So maybe the grassy cobblestone. Sponsored by no one yet. Shame. We should do that, but again, we're not making any money yet. Everything's free until I get paid. All right, so here's all this stuff. Is there like a convenient download button? Remove ads. I'm happy to accept ads. Hmm. Oh, there's the download button. Good heavens, what am I doing over here? Okay. Yes, I think Polyhaven is going to get a bookmark. And I will add a note to myself to donate when we make money. Bookmark, bookmark. Share this page. I'll bookmark it later. Okay, so in Blender, whoa. I guess I should unzip that first. Extract. Textures. So let's see here. If I link the blend, I select this guy. Shaders, materials. Where's the material? This is me not remembering anything about Blender. Oh, I am not switching my OBS to Blender. There we go. This blend file. Wait, what? What is this? Right, save. Projects, Evergloom, there we are. Rough visual. And rough it will be. Okay, so if we open this one. Oh goodness. Shader, grassy cobblestone. So how do I get how do I get this material into my other project? File, import. Yeah, Blender. We will Google you some more. Blender. Import material from other. Good old Stack Exchange, always a good repository. In your new blend file, go to append from a library blend file. Go to the material called material. Okay. Okay, that doesn't sound too hard. So Blender, we can file append this one. We want the material. Now there should be a material somewhere. Where did it go? Okay, so in theory, somewhere, so this plane, okay, sphere, sphere has a material, and we will give it a name. We should call it something like the violet web, something. We go to the plane, material 2 gets grassy cobblestone. There we go. Except we want it to be scaled. Where's this? Is there a scale option somewhere? Texture coordinates, mapping, roughness, normal, displacement. Multiply normal displacement, material output. I thought there was a way to do this somewhere. Scale. That's better. Yeah, so it kind of looks like that a little bit. And this light, wherever it is, here, is a point light. We're going to make it, whoa, that's It's going to be slightly purpley. Maybe we move it more. That kind of pushes out that, but we need to add a sunstone to the world. It's basically to be another light. Let's grab it, move it up. $1,000 watts. Okay, we have to move that into the line of fire. Yeah, this one. Okay. Where this thing is. Now, we're going to add a cube, I guess. Put it at about the same coordinates as the light. Ostensibly, this light is going to emanate from this cube. There's a way to make the cube not block the light. Render mesh not. Shadows make like that's just materials, shadow type, turn off shadows. Let's go in here. Shadow, anything about shadow? Shadow mode. None. Oh, well, not this one. Shadow mode, none. There. So all these villages are going to be built around a sunstone, and then a field, and then the rest of the buildings. And because you're limited on the number of crops you can build based on the radius that your sunstone casts, all of the villages have to be small. Like there are no more big cities in this world. Let's see. So let's make it look maybe a little less. What is it? Oh, nope, nope. Shoot. Every time I do this, render loop cut. Control R. Yeah, because loop starts with R. Don't you know? those vertices. Let's see, let's make a plane here. 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 Face, face, face. Now that's enclosed. Do something similar here. Here. Delete these two vertices. Close up that face. I'm sure I'm making all the artists watching cringe with how bad my modeling is. Let's see. Some of these vertices. Make it look a little bit more crystalline, maybe. This thing needs a material, which is going to have more of a yellow, but the purple light coming in is making it look. Can I make my object a light emitter? Blender mesh emit light. Little stack exchange. Use an emission shader. Materials tab on the properties editor. Menu material change shader from diffuse to emission. As if I know what that means. That's if you're using cycles. Not, I don't think, using cycles. Blender. Mesh emit light. Reddit Blender artist. O'Reilly, perfect. Everybody wants to, let's see. Select the object, go to the materials tab, under shading sub tab, fiddle around with the emit slider. Is there an emit slider? Oh. Emit. Oh, we can make it emit. Very nice. Something, slightly orange. Yellowish. Okay. Okay. Kind of cool. That part got a lot easier since I last used Blender in any meaningful sense. This is why I don't do art. Every time I do art, it takes me forever to remember all the tools, and then by the time I'm done with it, I'm not interested in doing more art. Okay. So one thing in this world is definitely going to be a lot of mushrooms. I think we could probably start with a cylinder for something like that. Move it up to 1. Extrude. We'll need a couple of sections here. Wireframe. Add a little curve to it. I might as well grab both of them. Okay. Back to solid mode. Yeah, let's go solid mode. We can work in this. But we're going to extrude. We're not going to go up. We're going to scale out to start making the mushroom cap. Extrude. Scale out some more. Grab down a little bit. Extrude. Grab Z. So this one's going to come down and scale in a bit. Extrude. Scale out. Extrude. Scale out some more. Extrude. Straight up. Okay. Shade smooth. Let's go to render wireframe so I can box select all these vertices, scale them out a bit. Oh, I'm gonna loop cut. That's what we want to do. No. Tab. Control R. There we go. Making some noise there. Out. Healing just a bit. Okay. Hey, that's identifiable as a mushroom, right? So yeah, just trying to rough in kind of what some things look like. I'm gonna go have to have a word with my children. They are making quite a bit of noise. Okay. Once we have one mushroom, we can always make more than one. I haven't decided if like these are the trees of this world or if they're primarily the edibles of the world. No idea. But like I said, that's part of the fun. We're gonna have to research. Okay. So as part of the world, you will have to help fix the sunstones and the water sources, because everybody needs those. Scale you up, rotate around the z-axis. Just make it look a little different, maybe. What is that circle? Okay. Feel like there's more purple light on the floor than there is on the web. Can I make this material emissive? I'll bet I can. Maybe we won't need that other light. I want it to emit where it's lightest. It's gonna make the whole mesh, not the white parts. Emission. Okay, so we might have to do this. We take the color into our emission. Hey, that looks a little better. We might have to math that though. That looks quite strong. So if we add a node, we can divide this by 2 and put that into our mission. Let it calculate. Now this light, We just disable it. Not visible. Whoa. Okay, but this thing should be emitting purpley light. Maybe we don't divide it. Maybe we... Um, color to emission. But that light is not hitting the floor anywhere. So this light. Where's the other light? There's a light this thing had, I thought. Sphere. Point. Light. Oh. Okay. Sunstone light. Cylinder. Mushroom. Big. Mushroom. Small. Mushroom. Big. Purple light. The cube. What cube? Do I have a cube? Oh, that's the sunstone. So if we turn this light off, the sunstone emission see that making much of a difference. So it doesn't actually emit any light at all. It just makes the surface look as though it might. Okay. Yeah, once you add emission, it actually is hard to tell about the shape. This is me not being an artist, so. Here. Now, the purple light, 30,000. To make it less specular. This is volume new. Sunstone light, you can make it a little more bright. This camera, what camera settings? What is it? N? N. There we are. Camera, near field, far field clipping. Oh, Blender. How to set camera far clipping. View. theory, I can. That's what this black circle is. It's the clipping plane. So this is the transform. There's that. Properties, options, transform, workspace. That's not helpful. Render engine. Camera. Camera. We need a camera. Clip. Start clip. End. There we go. Now no more clipping. This thing. Wireframe. Sure. We are in 3D cursor mode. And let's go back. 0, 0. We're going to put the sunstone light at 0, 0. We're going to add. We're going to add empty. Empty. We'll put the sunstone. Okay, let's see here. Empty shift. Nope. Control P, shift P. There's a way to make it apparent. And it's not just shift to parent. Okay. Move inside collection. Control to link. Shift to parent. There. Now where we move the sunstone, the light, and the mesh go together. In theory. There. Now the light moves with it. La la la. Okay. Alright. Sunstone. So I have two ideas for the game. One is a role-playing game. I get kind of tired of playing D20 or D6 game systems where it's roll over or wild wonder, but you roll, add your modifiers. Like, it's become rather silly. Like, even play like Numenera, it's a roll over system, but your bonuses aren't added to your number. It's instead subtracted from the difficulty of the roll, but mathematically they're identical. Then you have, Pathfinder and D&D and all these D20 systems. And frankly, combat is not interesting. So I have a crunchier combat system in mind. Steals one or two ideas out of maybe like a combination of Sentinels of the Multiverse RPG and the old D&D 4 concept. Another idea that's basically I stole from Circadian Dice. Um, and then I worked out a flow table, which you can play on paper, but I found it's a little bit burdensome. So I think I will eventually have to the make either like a mobile app or desktop application or a web browser application to help keep track of all the bookkeeping. But classless system and not built on, well, it's built on dice face customization and combos. So if you want to do magic, it's a combo. If you want to be a good fighter, you're going to do combos. Very crunchy. Going to be very crunchy. And continual improvement. Character will advance every single encounter or fight or contest or whatever we'll call them. Every scene. Okay, so I don't really know. I want to build houses or a whole bunch of mushrooms. I don't know yet what the crop will be. There's always trying to think of like cold crops, crops that like the cold and the dark. So in this world, all of the magic users gave their lives in one shot at one point. So like there was no magic in the world for a long time, but now it's coming back. So everybody can have some magic. So that'll be part of the game system as well. Could have a lot, you could have a very little. So this is kind of the world people live in. No, well, that's not quite true. There's an alternative where every once in a while you'll see a hole appear in the web, and you can pick a spot, and a giant energy spike will shoot out through it into space. And there are reasons for it, but we aren't revealing that just yet. So I don't know, like make some cottages maybe. Cottages should be easy, or at least something cottage-like. Start with the cube. Grab it up. Oop. There we go. That's not the button. Come on. Seems odd to me. What is this doing? Go out of render mode to our solid mode. Okay. We might as well just model it up here. Scale up. The houses won't be much larger, won't be as large as the sunstone will be. And the mushrooms can be taller, so that's fine. Extrude out. Extrude up. Scale. To 0. Mesh. Clean up. Merge by distance. Yep. Okay, so maybe not great, but a house analog. Oof. Except in a world with no rain or snow, the roofs are all going to be very flat, aren't they? They don't have to be pointed. So we may have to think about that. Okay. Switch back to here. Okay. The 4 mortals needs to be stubbed out. Whoa. What is that? Okay. The violet web until I think of a better name. Also the only survivors. Bullet list. You soup. The lady who weeps. The brand the supreme to the list. I don't have good names for the other ones. One is basically like all about like biology things, plants, animals. And another one is what? needs a name. Then we need I need another name for this guy. I know kind of what their role is in the world. I have a good name for these two yet. But the lady who weeps, the supreme duelist, I do have names for. So that's now stubbed out. We can, what? I said bullet list. Select the lines, bullet list. What does this do? Wrap selection in curly braces. Wrap selection in square brackets. Wow, it does not honor its own formatting. Unless, I bet we have to do that. Because modern wikis suck. Thank you. Okay, so that one's one. Sunstones. Yellow. Crystalline. Of course, I can't spell. Pillars. Rich. Get light. For half the 12 hours. This light is sufficient to allow plants to grow. Therefore, for each sunstone built a field of crops around which small villages are built. The size of the fields is limited by the light of the sunstone, and therefore the size of the resulting village. There is only one large city that doesn't follow this pattern. Spike City. So if your crops are limited, the size of your villages are all going to be limited. further from the sunstones one goes, or wild creatures. More dense, more what's the word? Prevalent. And I still can't spell. It's probably all E's, isn't it? Nope, just had those two swapped. Okay, so sunstones is stepped out, good enough. The spike. Once each year, for several days. This is something I will need to run some orbital mechanics tests on. I'd like to have an idea how many days it could fire and for how long each day. So for now, we're going to stub this in and add ourselves a big note. Each year, it opens in the violet web. Until I get a better name, unless somebody wants to propose one. Once or for several days, it remains open once pardon me. Each day a spike, a giant column of energy shoots up out of the ground through the hole into space. What would that time of year be called when the... Hey, JTL, what's up? Oh, thank you. Salud, yes. Muchísimas gracias por dírmelo. It's like, are we toasting something? Took me a second. So what would that be called? The time when this... Let's just call it a week for convenience right now. To do this section needs some orbital mechanics simulations done for number of days of the spikening. And no, that's not going to be the official name. We're not calling it that. Don't even think about it. Duration each day at the spike is active. So I have a reason for this spike. We're going to be shooting energy at an incoming object. So it would be nice if I could tell Well, I mean, first of all, I don't even know if the incoming object is going to be solar planar with the rest of the objects in the solar system, or if it's coming in on an eccentric approach. Probably not a normal approach, like normal meaning perpendicular to the solar plane. Do we want to come in through the solar plane? Not sure. This time of year is called what? The strobe. Boom, it turns on for a few minutes each day. The pulsing, the something. Purple energy, because that's the same color as the web. There's a reason for that. Shoots up out of the ground and through the hole into space. Think of a name. Um, Definitely not the pulsing. Or the spiking. I'm not a names guy. That's not my thing. I'm more into mechanics, like game mechanics, and how if you add this mechanic, it changes the whole dynamics of the game. So, I guess if we want to break into it, game design has many different facets and models and ways of looking at it, like a lot of things in life. And any one model is flawed, but my favorite one has been the theme dynamics mechanics model, except that I tend to approach it backwards of most people. So in your game, you have a theme. So if you look at something like chess, it's war, right? You're two armies. Same with Go. You're looking at controlling territory and capturing enemies. If you're looking at other board games like Small World, again conquest, territory control. The theme is your elves, dwarves, and what the setting is like, and why are people doing what they're doing. Not all games have a theme. For example, abstract games, checkers, Blockus, um, Azul, all very good games, don't really have a theme like space or fantasy or sci-fi or anything like that. Boats, pirates, none of that. So theme is sort of the veneer we put over the top of the game so that it does a few things. One, if you build your rules well within a theme, the theme can actually help people learn the game faster, right? So if you are doing a war game, it's probably very likely that you're going to either choose war concepts that we are very familiar with, or you're going to choose often a high fantasy concept like Lord of the Rings, right? Elves, dwarves, orcs. You have good and evil pretty clearly defined because it's fast and easy. It's a shorthand so that people understand. And then when you say the word on your turn, you can attack. Well, I already know what attack means, right? I deal damage. Um, you can move. Well, we know what move means, right? It's pretty minimal, simple to understand because the theme and the rules match. Um, you can then use words like push and pull or immobilize, and the theme itself kind of blocks in people's minds what needs to happen. So that's your theme. A lot of people, I think, start with theme where they have this great idea for a setting. Then they start thinking of mechanics that fit within that theme. And the mechanics are the actual rules, right? If you have a hand of cards, well, your hand is part of the mechanics. Do you draw? Do you discard? When you play a card, where does it go? Is there, is there a discard pile? Can you shuffle your discard pile any other time? When do you shuffle? When do you draw? When you attack, what does that mean? What math actually has to happen? Do you just, is it like Magic the Gathering? The mechanic would be you compare your strength to your power to their strength, and if it's greater, then they die, and vice versa to you. Simultaneous death is perfectly allowed in Magic the Gathering. Or is that not a rule? Does the attacker have an advantage where if the attacker kills, then the defender does not get to deal damage back? Those are all mechanics, right? And once you've defined some mechanics, the part called dynamics is sort of the fluffy, hard to define part where it's how do the mechanics work together to create a more complicated system, right? Each mechanic is simple enough on, for Dominion. The action, it's really simple. The mechanics are A, B, C. You take your actions, so any action cards in your hand, you play. Then B is you buy, so you can spend whatever gold you have based on your actions and your earnings to buy things from the shop. And then C, you clean up. You put your cards away and redraw a new hand, and that's basically your turn. With only explaining a couple more rules, that's basically the whole game of Dominion. But the dynamics are very interesting because as you take those separate tiny mechanics that are easy to understand and explain, you put out different cards, and that game plays completely differently, right? You play the Witch, and all of a sudden everybody needs so much more card removal in their deck. Or maybe you start buying, shoot, I forgot. There's one, like there was a card, I don't remember. Like somebody started buying a card called Margrave, and it made everyone else discard cards, right? So then, to make sure that the person who first played Margrave in a round didn't have an advantage, everyone else started buying Margraves, because then after the first person played Margrave in a round, the next person would have one of their 3 cards be a Margrave, which would then set that person back to the same level as everyone else. So everybody spent the whole game on 3 cards instead of 5 in their hand, because everybody started buying Margrave. And that was just a dynamic that arose from the mechanics. Here's what you do. You draw a card, you discard these cards, you make your opponents discard these cards, blah, blah, blah. And since those mechanics all interacted in this way, the dynamic was everyone's hand is at 60%. And it's the dynamics that are the interesting parts. And again, if the more the dynamics also reinforce the theme, the better for learning. So, I mean, chess is, I won't say it's a perfect game, but it's very close. The theme is very simple, right? Different units on the battlefield can do different things. They move at different rates. Some of them can go over other units, others cannot. Like the knight can jump over units, but nothing else can. But most of them are limited in distance, unless you're a bishop, a rook, or a queen, right? So the more powerful you are, you move differently. And out of these very simple rules arises dynamics where to get good at chess, you basically have to go study openings of, we've already studied all of this, we know all of these interactions, and here's how you get the best advantage in the early game, right? And the dynamics there are very interesting. The checking patterns, your the amount of calculation you have to do on a turn, very interesting. So, I'm a mechanics first guy. I think up an interesting mechanic. So instead of me saying, I want to make a cool RPG like D&D, and then the first thing I do is say, well, you're going to roll a d20, and if it's over this value after you add your modifiers, well, wait a minute. What did I do that's different than D&D? I just changed the setting. I reskinned it. Really, that's all? Numenera has some interesting ideas in it that I like. But at the end of the day, you're still, every single round, rolling a d20, adding your modifiers, which, again, in Numenera, they call it subtracting from the difficulty, but mathematically they're identical, and then comparing 2 numbers. It's not interesting to me. So I have this set of mechanics for the role-playing game, out of which came this setting. Like, as I thought up the rules, the setting sort of came to me, and the setting was equally applicable to another game idea I've had for a tabletop skirmish game. So if you like, I should tag some of these. These are informational. This is prose. Oh, not that one. For Immortals is info. Those have not been defined. The spike. For Immortals. The Sunstones. This is also informational. Okay. I would like to have those labels have different colors, but it's probably fine. Tag management. Oh, they do have different colors. Cool. Info. Info. I could just make it white. That's fine. Bro, is it fine? Make it nice. Huh. It's orange. Prose. Prose is purple, right? Pun intended. Okay. Oh, there's icons too. Cool. I didn't know we had all these. Link. Oh, probably because they're built in. There's no info button. Yes, perfect. Cool. So is there like a edit button? Oh, that's cute. Look at that. My tags are getting so beautiful. I can import images, new image, new terminal, new titler. Okay. Let's see. How are we doing? Okay. Blah, blah, blah. So, the spike. We should go back here. Actually, the time of year. Definitely not. Something stupid. To do. The hole in. I need to name this violet web thing. It's central enough to everything that it needs a name. So what I would imagine is in a world where the sky is always purple, web shaped, and in a world where there's a big hole in the sky and there's a spike that shoots through it, spike of energy. Imagine a lot of the world's curses are going to be related to that. Like to add your exclamatory flavor to people. We do have a few to-dos. This probably should be a bullet list. And is this just indent? That would be nice. Should we check? It does not. Can I? Nope. What if I put 2 stars? Some wiki things will do that. Hey, it's 2 stars. Okay. And I said in Sunstones that there's one city called Spike City. Built it around. Let's just the only large city shape. Oh, wait, donut. Several sunstones ring the area. Much greater proximity than anywhere else in the world. Spike City. And maybe we don't stick with Spike City. So the Spike City is going to be a circle around where the spike happens once a year. Spike City. So here's one thing that happens with language. Over decades or centuries, as in this case, people's words slur and come together and change. So it could be that Spike City eventually morphs into like something like Spicity. Spikety. It might not. But there are times when you want to remain with the descriptive name that people would have given it anyways, right? Hey, here's the spike. It happens every year. Spike City. Several to-dos there. I'm not sure I want to name Spike City Spike City. I'll have to think about it. I will not be giving backgrounds on these in this stream, or maybe several streams. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, the Grand Library, some big library in the Spike City. Like a repository of knowledge. I do need to name the Violet Web. It's too big of a pain to not. These pools will also need to be named perpetual pools or unceasing cisterns. Is there a way in Twitch to, or OBS, to start? Well, I probably don't have enough people watching to do a poll. Never mind. More mortals to spike. Children of Light. You know, maybe it's Children of Dark and Bringers of Light. I think that more accurately describes their positions, actually. Bringers of light, or the light carriers, the light bringers. Okay. There's no way that somebody else hasn't used this before. The light bringers on Steam, of course. Mythology and symbolism. Rune quests, light bringers. Darn it. All right. Bringers of the Light. That's a book for $8 on Amazon. Light bringers, of course. That's only one book. When was it? What's its published date? Conversations with God. June 1st, 2000. This is 2024. Bringers of Light. Okay. It's going to be kind of hard to come up with names for things that don't already exist. But Light Bringers is probably close enough that Bringers of Light. Carriers of Light. Let's see here. What's a synonym for bringer? Oh, AI, stop stealing. Thesaurus, bearer, bearers of light, porters of light. There we go. That sounds wonderful. Emissary. Oh, emissary. What about light bearer? What is the phosphorus? From Tower of God wiki. Believe that is an anime. Okay. Bearer of light. Yes, yes, yes. Blah blah blah. Light bearer. See, a lot of this is very religious stuff, which I'm fine with the religious overtones in terms of these two groups. There are other groups we'll talk about, but these are not. Yeah, so here we go with bearers of light. Of the dark. Children of dark or of the dark? Bearers of light and children of the dark. Children of dark. Of the dark. Children of dark. Let's just see what comes up. Oh, a movie from 1994 and 2008. Neither of those look like terribly well-known. Hey, welcome to the chat, Abdarayan. Welcome aboard. What brings you here this fine day? Most of the time we're doing software development, but today we're doing some world building. We're building up a little wiki with some ideas for theme, for setting. think we're going to call the two groups Bearers of Light and the Children of the Dark. I love world building. You know, I don't know if I love world building or not. What kind of service are you using? This is Tiddlywiki. So let me dig this up because this is the one I keep coming back to. Um, Let me throw this in the chat. And if you go to download this button, you get an empty HTML document, and that's it. That's the whole thing. It's just one HTML document. You open it up in your browser, and it's all self-contained within that one HTML file. World Anvil, yes. I'm not using it. I think you have to pay for that. Is there a free version? I was thinking also about Obsidian, maybe. That's more of a, well, so Obsidian, here's another one that we might, I haven't tried it yet. There is a free tier. Word Anvil, World, if I could type right. There is a free tier. Oh, you got Obsidian? So what do you think of Obsidian? Oh, just today. Good coincidence. I like that. Okay, World Anvil, for those who are following along, I'll throw it in there. Yeah, so Tiddlywiki, literally one file. It works on any browser, and you just move the file around whatever you want. And that's actually pretty slick that way. Obsidian, I would like to know somebody that's actually used it and what they think of it. World Anvil, I always assumed that it would be not very usable if you didn't like pay for it. So maybe I do need to dive into some World Anvil, but I'm probably not going to do that on this stream. We'll stick with Tiddlywiki for now. Cool. So here's my thing, and I maybe have already opined about this to the others. I'm not really a theme-heavy guy. A lot of people design their game theme first, then mechanics to support it, and then if they happen to get some dynamics that are interesting about how those mechanics interact, that's great. I tend to work the other way. I usually come up with a set of mechanics first, and then those mechanics lead me to build a world in my head that would hold those mechanics. I love good game mechanics. So this world we're building will support an RPG idea I have that has very crunchy combat, more what I want to play than like a D20 roll system, or even like a D6 dice pool, or like a fudge system. So I've got an idea for the mechanics there, but the part that I don't have, play testing and running is the world building. So I've got a local copy of a Tiddlywiki. We're just putting stuff in here. And I think I've decided on the name of two political factions or philosophical factions within this world. That's what we're doing. I kind of half-heartedly threw some art together very haphazardly. So here's this world. This is, well, that's a good question. Medieval. Okay, let me see. Let me get my image. OBS. OBS, stop being silly. If I bring up Blender. Okay, so in this world, there's no sun, there's no sky, there's no moon, there's no stars. It's just this black sky with this purple web of energy over the top, like a big dome, or, well, it's a sphere around the whole world, right? And so the temperature doesn't change, there's no weather, there's no seasons, and then once a year, a hole opens up in that space above that dome in the sky, and a spike will shoot out for a few minutes every day for some number of days. I have an item on my list to do the orbital mechanics for why that is happening and to figure out how long it would be on and how many days that would run. But that's sort of the trappings of the world. I understand, I know why it's there, and I know what the spike is doing. I would actually like to come up with a name for this purple web. I thought the violet web, but I'm not sure I like that one. So if you have name ideas, naming things is like my one weakness. I hate it. So I haven't decided how far along the technology curve to put this world. I've thought maybe slightly steampunk, using magic as your world as your power source to make steam and wine clock gears. So you can get kind of a little gear punky. I definitely don't want to go as far as like diesel punk or anything past Victorian era. Um, there will be magic, but no, I don't really have any strong opinion. It's probably going to be humans and then everything else. But the humans will come in several flavors. People that live near the spike are going to have different problems than people who live out between the sunstones. Um, and the people around the sunstones are obviously going to have different problems than everybody else. So everybody has different problems. So I could go medieval or up to potentially Victorian era, just at the start of the steampunk type of time. And I haven't decided where. What you get if you allow steampunk flavoring to go in is that you can have trains run between the villages. So in this world, these sunstones, let's see, the sunstone is really the only thing that allows you to grow crops in this world. So wherever there's a sunstone, there are fields around that, and then around those fields is built your village. And your village can only be as big as your fields will support. So your every village is really about the same size as every other village because of the sunstone. Except one place, which we just talked about. But that's kind of how it is. It's just spaced around the world are sunstones, and each sunstone is a village, and each village is limited in size. The space in between the sunstones is going to be very, very dangerous. And so if I allow railroad technology, power fueled by magic, that allows some interesting travel problems. Or travel options, I should say. So there are definitely things I haven't decided yet. I'm probably going to go with well, I don't know about, so it's more about the game mechanics. I'm developing a game too. Yeah, so Monday through Thursday, I develop a game more as a learning the very bottom level of the programming levels that I need, like minimal dependencies for a small computer game. Not that interesting of a game in terms of its technical complexity. So that's that. Then on Friday it's variety day. Sometimes I do compilers. Other days it's world building, and this is the world building for tabletop game. Yes, so game mechanics are going to be very crunchy in the combat, not just a d20 roller. You're going to have like a dice pool, and you'll be able to roll somebody in a turn, re-roll somebody in a turn, keep somebody in a turn, activate somebody in a turn. You can hold them for combos or spells. Like a spell is just another combo, but it'll be completely classless. So you build your character the way you want. If you want, mostly a boxer that happens to throw occasional fireballs, you can do that. If you want a guy that just sits there and hums gently to himself and then explodes all the world around him, you can do that too. If you want a big guy with a hammer that heals people, there's no classes. I've prototyped it and play tested it once, and it needs a lot of work. But today we're on world building side of things because I need more world building to play test against. So yeah, I'm having kind of fun. Feel free to give a follow, or I have a Discord channel where I send out notifications of what I'm going to stream in the day. So feel free to join that. And yeah, I'm happy to listen to ideas, naming conventions. Like I said, I suck at naming. So like I still need to name. So the water, there's no rivers, right? If there's no rainfall, if there's no heat, evaporating water and letting it fall again, there's no water running downhill anymore. So what happens is near each village is also a perpetual pool or an unceasing cistern or something, but it's always full of water. So I need to name that. Um, they both have alliteration, but I don't want to be like too cutesy about things. The violet web is probably the one I need to name the most because it just shows up everywhere. It's always in the sky. Everything has to do with that. Some sort of library in the big city. I don't care about that name, but the violet web, yes, and my water, my perpetual supplies of clean water. I need to name those. So I'm open to ideas. Um, so there's the bears of light and the children of dark. Naming is really tough. I agree. Especially once you start Googling the names you come up with, you're like, oh darn it, that was in the video game. Oh darn it, that's the name of a movie or that's pretty short, but reasonable stub. This one overcome. These are two groups. Like I wouldn't call them religious, but there will be religious overtones to them. I wouldn't necessarily call them political either, but there are definitely philosophical differences of opinions here. And these people can be found anywhere. Um, this is informational, not prose based. Probably means we need a list of factions. An index. I guess we just make a list. I'm kind of reverse of you, I guess. I'm a lifelong world builder and decided to try and make a game out of some of my worlds. Nice. Do you have like any like published or like GitHub or like Google Doc or anything of any cool worlds? I'm happy to steal ideas from anywhere. Ooh, I love programming. Like usually that's my first approach to a problem. I think of a system and I start trying to make a system out of it. So this is like completely not my usual mode here. Trying to step outside that and break things up a bit. We'll save that. List of factions. Um Index. Chevron up. That's not terrible. Delete, edit, erase, excise, export file, fold. Nah. Trying to find a built-in icon so I don't have to go import some. Quote. Up arrow. Yeah, that's not bad. Save it. So we'll eventually have like a list of factions, a list of places, and a list of key people. So we'll have these indices. Your acorn in my Discord. Okay, cool, cool. Let's see. I've not actually looked at the Discord in a bit here. Hey, acorn, welcome to the thing. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, this is just kind of what I'm doing right now. Is just trying to stub out enough pieces. Like I'm not sure I want to call it Spike City. Yes, acorn is a lot easier for me to say than your Twitch handle. Darahin. Yeah, welcome aboard, stranger. Let's see. It probably means I need a Discord channel for world building, which is easy enough. World building. There we go. Okay, we're gonna label our channels here a little bit. Okay, sorry. Easily sidetracked. We have the sunstones. So, one thing that will happen a lot in this game, not a lot, and in this. Oh, okay. So I have two games going for this setting. One is a tabletop role playing game, which I have prototyped and playtested once. The other one is a tabletop skirmish game. Um, Many years ago, I decided to try Warhammer 40k with some friends. Well, with a friend. We played a bit, and I didn't really like it in terms of the game mechanics itself. So we tried a different game called Malifaux, which I quite liked. And that skirmish size was much more my style, more my flavor. Um, so this will be not like Malifaux at all, except that it's a skirmish game of similar scale, but it will also take place in this world. So if we do a good job on the world building, we can use it in a couple of places. The Violet Web. Do I like that? Hmm. And tools. I don't think there's anything there I need to fiddle with. More tags. Recent. All. Oh, that's where all is. I was wondering about that. I have a list of missing. Well, that's handy. I don't have any drafts open. Orphans. So these are things that nothing else points to. Index info. Oh, these are tags. Where are the tags in there? Okay. System. I don't know if I care about that. Explore plugins. Yeah, I don't have any plugins. Themes. Huh. Yeah, I don't know if I care about those. Okay. What does this thing do? Settings. Oh my gosh. Oh. The no, the discourager of hesitancy, animation duration. I don't know what that means. That's fine. Ah. Who does this? Who does this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Month, day. I want them to sort alphabetically. Thank you. Tag for me now. Journal? Journal's fine. Although journal has a wow. Yeah, good enough. Oh, appearance? Whoa. I don't see much of a difference. Palette, theme, toolbars. I don't know, most of this seems pretty usable as is. Okay. Keep coming back to this. Like, can't really name world build without a good name for the. Let's see here. The webbed dome. The because this is ever present. It's always in the world. It's there's no day. There's no night. Mm-hmm. I don't know if maybe I need to sleep on it. I did once write a bunch of notes in note form in a text document somewhere. So maybe I have some names in there that I could look up. Let me see here. Where would I put that? Project ideas, ideas for games. Oh, no. There it is. Let's see. So if I enable, whoa. No, OBS lost my key, my mouse again. Now I don't know where my mouse is. Dang it. Okay, so some things I thought of. La 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 la. Oh, the dark lattice. That was a good name I had back in the day. The violet lattice. The dark lattice or violet lattice. Ooh. Lattice. I am not even sharing. Well, because I can't hardly click on anything right now. There it is. Ah. So if I hide. Nope, not that button. I can't see my cursor, so I'm kind of guessing blind here. Okay, so these are old names. La la la. The world. Dark lattice. I could almost work with that. So if I go to look it up and see if anybody else is using it. No, basically vinyl lattice from Home Depot is what comes up top. Privacy plastic lattice. This is perfect. What about? And now for some reason my mouse is back. What the? What about a violet lattice? Do I care about that? I'm willing to take a vote. Violet or dark? Lattice. And of course OBS is okay. So look at this. No day and night, very little temperature variance, no wind, little no precipitation, no seasons, plants. Okay, so we're looking at the twilight zone, the dark zone of caves. Things that live there are often things like troglofauna. We're looking for stegofauna, subterranean fauna. Yes, so we will do research on that eventually. Like we're probably gonna have lots of crabs, lizards, amphibians, so forth. Steam vents and sunstone, very important. The spike. Yeah, food is hard to grow. So vats of algae, crustaceans, fish. Flavoring, I was leaning towards steampunk. Gives you a little bit of basic, like I said, opens up some railway options for getting from village to village. Definitely fantasy. Politics. Oh, Children of Dusk. Oh, the Gloom Knights. That's not bad. La la. So yeah, this was more religious in flavor, but lots of ideas here. Spikers, people who live near the spike get more magical. So the breeders are people that believe that if you have for the world to properly, and I haven't thought of a proper name for them, but basically trying to genetically engineer more magic people. Blah blah blah. The grubbers, they live between the sunstones, so they don't actually have those crabs. Sporekin, I don't know about colors, but basically these are people who lived outside of the, or who, on being outside of the range of a sunstone, ran into a type of spore that infected them. I think it will give them some power ups as they go, but also some downsides as they go. Similar to a leper colony, blah blah blah. Archivists are trying to capture knowledge from before. The mechanics are trying to keep the sunstones and the water supplies running. So one of the things that will happen in this world is, hey, this village can get water. Go help fix the pumps or whatever. Somewhere there will be a vault of seeds. Oop. Spoilers below. Names. Yeah. So yeah, I've got lots of ideas in a list, but I think the Dark Lattice, that was a good one. I should keep that, I think. I think we'll go with the Dark Lattice. Which means this is informational. There's no blue sky in this. Clouds. No snow. No sun. Moon. Stars. So, Acorn, what kinds of world building have you engaged in? You sound like you're more of an expert on this than I am. Here. For learning programming, it's a bunch of memorizing code language, like the syntax or whatever. Genuinely an absolute beginner. Sorry for paragraphing in your chat and bombarding you with this question. No, I'm happy to take questions. We are not particularly busy as far as chats go. So anytime somebody has a question or input, I'm happy to chat. So learning programming, the first thing you have to understand is that what you are doing is explaining very, very simple tasks to a complete idiot. The truth of the matter is that no computer will ever do anything you didn't tell it to do. So the best way to start learning programming depends on what you want to do with your programming. If you want to do a little bit of like web development for fun, then just go out, find some examples, copy paste them, and then just start fiddling with it. Change the text, change the color. If you want to learn like computer science, like how does everything work? How do you put things together in new and interesting ways? How do you understand very big complex ideas? My advice is slightly different. That's still a good place to start, but you need to get off that quick into understanding lower levels. So if you're doing it as like a hobby thing for fun, Python is great. If you're doing like web development, you'll have to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And you can do that by example mostly. You can just go look online and find examples and copy paste. So each language does have syntax. It's kind of like, the punctuation for English sentences. You have a subject and a verb, how you relate adjectives and adverbs. Is all part of that syntax, how things fit together. And then when you understand that all the computer is really doing is running through a sequence in order of instructions really fast. And those instructions are very simple. And if you tell the computer the wrong thing, it will do the wrong thing. So I don't know if that helps or is the right direction for your question. Memorization, there are parts that I memorize just because I use it so often. There's lots of other parts where I just look it up when I need it because I don't use it that often. Game development. Okay. And that is a slightly different story. I've been doing development for 15 years professionally. And there's still a lot of variation within game development of the kinds of things you might want to do. If you're doing web games, you might do things one way. If you want to do like a desktop game or a console game, that's slightly different. If you want to get started in about as gentle a way as you can, I would say Unity. Unity free version is okay. I've been hearing a lot about Godot, G-O-D-O-T, Godot engine. So this one I think is a free engine. They have their own special programming language. So again, you're going to look at examples, copy, paste, and modify those. As you get more comfortable with how to do things, then you'll look up the actual language documentation. Unity 3D has a free tier, or at least they did. Oh. Unity's lost a lot of credibility lately for reasons. 2D sprite kind of game, yeah, so Unity would be fine. Godot or Godot engine would probably work fine as a good place to start. The thing the engine buys you is you don't have to know everything all at once. You can start at the high level and build interesting game mechanics without having to understand all about rendering engines and physics engines and sprite sheet programming, UV coordinates. Like a lot of that will just not be your problem yet. So it lets you deal with, hey, I want to add a Goomba. I want it to walk this way. I want to be able to jump with the space bar. There's example code for all those things online in either game engine. Unity uses C#, so it's more of an official language than Godot's special scripting language. That's one of the reasons I haven't actually gone and tried Godot, is I don't really feel like learning another special purpose one-off language for just one reason, one thing. Now, if you want to learn about that other stuff that we're talking about with, through the physics engine, the render engine, sprite sheet animation, programming, that level is a whole different level, and that's what I'm trying to get to. I've done Unity, so I kind of know how it's built, but I'm trying to build this other game the rest of the week with only 4 dependencies and no game engine at all. So I've taken some wrong turns here and there, but it's been very educational for me. Yeah, Unity kind of jumped the shark with that one. They made people very sad. Let's see here. I have no engine. Well, I don't even fake knowing what I'm doing. I just mostly make it up on the fly. I've been programming for 15 years, so the programming side doesn't bother me. It's putting it all together in a way that makes sense, which I usually do wrong once or twice for each feature, and then I go back and fix it when I figure out what I've done wrong. Not that like it's not functional before necessarily, but you do it once, and by the time you've finished, you understand what the problem was. Then you can design around the actual problem, and the second time it's much better. And that's just true of programming in general. If you want to be a good programmer, just write the code 3 different times. So I guess I can say I know programming. I don't know game development at that level yet. I'm not going to call myself an expert on that until I've built 1 or 2 games. Okay. I think we need one more tiddler today. List of index of lists. Index of indices. Hey, what's up? What's up? How are you doing? There was a comment in there. Is your game listed on Steam? No, it's not close to release yet. I'll show you what I've got going on there. We go back to this one. Go active projects, word sleuth. Oh, doc journal. I've been keeping a development diary of the things I've been working on. We just finished up the week 4 of streaming, or week 3. Yeah, I've only been streaming for 3 weeks. Oh my gosh. So I'd already done some work before I started streaming, but here's a list of the things that I still know I have to do. Or, I mean, some of them I don't. Like, this is the discarded tasks. I'm nowhere near putting it on Steam yet. I need to create a business, create a bank account, create a website, get a developer sign up. I think that costs $100 once in your lifetime. Then I need to go through the Steam integration. But yeah, it's not listed on Steam at all yet. I don't even have a business entity set up for this yet. I estimate when I started streaming that I had 3 to 6 months left of work to do. And since I'm very bad at estimating, that probably means it's closer to 6 to 12 months left before it's ready to ship, depending on all sorts of factors. But I mean, I have knocked down an awful lot of these tasks since I started streaming 3 weeks ago. Oh, no, I am on week 4. Aha! I just didn't label it right. Boom. 4 weeks. Look at that. Yeah, so that game, pop in on Monday. I'll be working on it all day Monday. Well, all day Monday. I'll be working on it Monday for a good 5 hours. Can I change the name? Tags and fields. Oh, interesting. Okay, so now I have a way to say, what are all the things I list? So I'm going to have a list of factions, a list of people, a list of places. That's going to get built up. I have this one. We've already got 2 factions semi-detailed. I mean, stubbed in, really. Let's be honest. We have a bit of prose, the Dark Lattice, Children of the Dark. So actually, if I go back to Evergloom, Gloom Knights. I kind of like that name. Or Children of Dust. So I'm going to add a note to myself here. Note. Better names, or maybe ranks in this group. So maybe Children of the Dusk is like an acolyte level, whereas a Gloom Knight would be somebody more advanced in levels. I don't know. But I did kind of like Gloom Knights. That had a nice ring to it. So we'll keep it noted. Bearers of Light. The bright ones. Note. Maybe a rank inside the group. The bright ones. That has a decent enough ring to it. Sunstones. Minute. This spike is active. Or immortals. I definitely need to come up with names for these people. Orbital mechanics I'm not coming up to. Those 3 should be not too bad. Sunstones. So the only way you can tell what time of day it is based on the sunstones. Or how long the sun's... Like, you can set your clock by when the sunstone lights up. Inconsistent. Inconsistent. It is rare to visit other villages. Except in large armed caravans and for at rate expense. Okay, let's make one more. Index of places. Spike City. Okay. La 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 la. So that's a pretty decent outline for the day. Need to let's see here. Missing. Spike City needs to be detailed. The lady who weeps, the supreme duelist. They need some information. I need to keep a separate piece of this data out. Basically, the history of what happened, not what is. What is can stay public. But what did happen needs to be part of playing through the game if you want to play through the campaign. And only if you engage with one of the four major elements. If you go off on side quests in this RPG, it won't really matter, but you just won't get to the back story information. Okay. All right. Well, what time is it? Oh gosh, it's almost 7. Okay. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Oh wow, OBS. I keep forgetting to update. Sorry, I just updated some things in the wiki. Nothing too major. So yeah, come back, drop in. Feel free to join any of the streams. Always happy to have people to talk to. But I'm going to call it there. I got to go grill up some steaks. So have a good evening, and I will see you next time.